Yes, it's Lagoon Radio. Good morning and welcome to the program State of the Nation, our political program on Lagoon Radio, your number one online gospel radio in Nigeria and the official radio of the Anglican Communion Diocese of Lagos. We are transmitting live from the Diocesan Palace right here in Marina, Lagos. Yes, remember you can download the app on Google Play Store and Apple Store. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook, Lagoon Radio Nigeria, Twitter and Instagram, Lagoonradio.Ng. I am Anosike Chimese welcoming you on today's edition of the program. Yes, this week we are looking at the outcome of party primaries, and we'll take a look. We look forward to the APC primaries, which is heating up right now. And of course, this morning we'll have our guest, though he is not physically present at the studio. He will be joining us via WhatsApp. We have Olatunji Olafashake. Olatunji, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Chimeze. It's nice being back here again, even if it's not physical. But at least it's been a while, and I'm glad I'm here again.
Yes, it took me. I said whatever it would take to bring him to the program. That's what I would do, and in fact, we did it. Yes, thank you once again. Now, let's take a look at how it has happened. The PDP, NMPP, Labour Party, APGA, of course, SDP yesterday had a factional presidential aspirant. And the other faction are saying that they have not elected a presidential candidate. Now, looking at it, the PDP already will have Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. On the NMPP, we'll have Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. And Labour Party has produced Peter Obi. Then on APGA, yes, they produced a life bencher yesterday, a former lawmaker in Anambra State. So looking at all this and the way it has happened, what do you have to say about the primaries so far?
Well, let's start with on a light. Primaries have been all about delegates. That is just basically about delegates, because without the delegates, the primaries will not have held at all. And we all know in Nigeria at the moment what the economic situation is like, and it is basically on the ISP. Yeah. So let's just leave it at that. That's the part one. Then the second part is we've come to realize that at the moment, from the major parties, the PDP, APC, and maybe Labour, just maybe, it's choosing between or among the lesser evils. Because when we have delegates who is going to a primary election, all in the name of the highest bidder wins, not basically because we want to vote the person whom we know, not just feel or perceive, whom we know is going to turn the tides around in Nigeria. Even if it's not fully, but at least in 4 years we'll know this and this and this is this person is going to do it. Many of these candidates do not even have manifestos, proper manifestos. There are no tangible things we can hold on to in terms of. I was watching before the start of the UEFA Champions League final on Saturday, and I have to say one of the candidates, whom I won't even mention his name now, said he came up on the stage and he was just telling us that his mom was a teacher, his dad was a teacher, he grew up in the village. Excuse me, that is not what we want to hear in 2022. This is 2022. If you are being voted in as the president, is that what you want to give to us? Do you want us to go back to the village we grew up in the city? Because everything is said. Well, I have to tell my my friends whom we sat down together. What I said is this all this man have to say with all the wealth of experience in his field? No proper PR to even put up a good statement. Even if you are going to lie to us, let's have a perception first that this person knows what he's doing. So the primaries basically for me is just like I said, it's just about the delegate. And the president we are going to vote for in 2023 is not going to be a president we all want, because the delegates already did the background work for us. We are just going to the pool to pick the lesser evil.
Okay, you just raised a point now based on the delegate issue. A lot of people have criticized that is it this delegate list and the rest of them, is it part of the electoral law that has been signed? Looking at it, because a lot of people saying that is a matter of few people choosing for the whole nation. Looking at this delegate and what they have cost, is it part of the electoral law and is it beneficial to the citizens?
I really don't have full scope of the new electoral law. I have not really taken time to digest it well. But I think from the old one, we've been on the delegate stand. I think from 1999, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was just once that there was a direct primaries. I think that was in 2019, before the 2019 election, that there were direct primaries, which didn't really favor quite some people. When you have direct primaries, you have to spend more money in quotes. So they prefer the delegate the delegate option, because it's just a few people who you can quickly coerce together to do your own bidding. So the question I really do not know, because I have not digested in full what that electoral law says about delegate. But in my own personal opinion, I prefer the direct primaries. As long as you are a card-carrying member of the political party, you should be able to vote in whomever you want to see as your president, as your House of Assembly member, House of Rev'd member, and all that. Because having to just pick a few people, like in the US when the election is going on, you have the electoral college that would do the final bidding of whom the president is going to be. But so for me, the direct primary is still a better option. Let everybody vote. Then let's see how popular and how influential you are, because everything about being a leader is influence. If you can influence your environment, influence your community, influence your state positively or negatively, as the case may be, then we'll know from the direct primaries.
Okay. The PDP, like some people will say, looking at the outcome of the PDP primaries, some said it is democratic. Is it something we should emulate going forward? And looking at other political parties like the APC, they are yet to come forward with their candidate. But looking at the way the PDP conducted their primaries, is it something to emulate going forward?
I would disagree to the fact that it is democratic. How are we going to say it is democratic when just at the tail end, so when the voting will start, one of the candidates just opted out and pitched the tent with the game? That is not democratic enough. Because at the end of the day, what that connotes is that there was like in football, that's what I'll call a counter attack. Because the moment the person just did what he did, Others were totally defeated because we all know the influence of Governor Tamboa in the north. So let's assume he did not step down. Perhaps I think His Excellency Abdulsalam Atiku would have won. Because I want to say that is democratic. That it's something to be emulated. As a matter of fact, there should be a 2-3 rule that if you are not conceding to step down for a particular candidate between this period and this period, anything after that time, you go straight into the pool, not the tail end. Because what that connotes is every other candidate, it's difficult for them to say, okay, let's quickly merge and form an alliance. Because they like in car balance, I would have to say this in Fiji, handicap. That's just what it means. It's not democratic at all.
Okay. Now, the NMPP will have Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, the former governor of Kano State and also a lawmaker, and the Labour Party, who have produced Peter Obi. ABGA yesterday produced Peter Umaade, a former Chief Justice of Anambra State, and also factional SDP produced Ebenezer Ikeyinwa yesterday. On the run now, we have five presidential candidates. We are looking up to about 13 of them to come forward with their candidates. And looking at the timeline the INEC has given, news just came up now that the INEC has also extended the voter registration. Remember that the deadline for primaries were moved. So, and now SERAP, in a bid for massive participation in 2023 elections, wanted to sue the INEC. Now, they have moved the voter registration exercise. Coming from the INEC point of view and the citizens of Nigeria. Now, looking at it, what does this entail for our democracy?
I'll say first and foremost, generally we are people who do not take action fast. We wait till the tail end before we take action. And unfortunately, this thing has trickled down to the everyday Nigerian on the street. I have to be honest. In fact, there are times when personally I also would just hold on and not take action directly. Not as if I don't want to take action on a particular thing. I'll just wait. Unconsciously. And I realize that this thing is even affecting every one of us. So we should take responsibility and take action fast as possible. Because if everybody had put his or her house in order, we shouldn't have a case where INEC will be forced to shift deadlines. We shouldn't even get to the point where INEC will be forced to shift deadlines if we have put our house in order. Now look at the voters registration. Immediately the portal was opened up June 2021. The first day, I think the second day I registered because I was told to go and re-register again. They couldn't find my permanent voter's card. I registered immediately and I booked a date for capturing. I went for the capturing, I think 2 months later, I think it's of August. And I didn't spend up to 30 minutes because there was little or nobody there. I think the only person who made me spend up to 30 minutes because I saw 2 elderly people whom they were trying to assist with their registration. So I did not even waste time. Now look at what is happening now. People are now rushing there. There is no date for capturing when they register on. Everything is booked. When there was opportunity, like tons and tons of dates, nobody went there. So I think we should always take responsibility first and do things we want to do as fast as possible in order to avoid this, because this thing is affecting INEC's timeline. It's affecting the timeline for election next year, which is not good for us. Because at the end of the day, there will be lawsuits here and there. There will be this person and this election was rigged. Go to tribunal. Go to this. Go to that. And there's also a timeline for tribunal. So we shouldn't have a case where we would wait and extend like the way we did for SIM registration. If INEC says 6th of June, that is the deadline. Whoever it is that has not conducted these or primaries should go and pitch tent with the other party. So we shouldn't do. Okay, look at it. If APC had done theirs, perhaps we would have just said okay, but they have not. That is the ruling party, which should even take the lead. But other parties have done theirs. So we should not do such things going forward. It should affect the timeline for elections, and it's very, very bad for our image in the international community. They won't take us seriously anymore. Of course, they are not even taking us seriously at the moment. It will only get worse.
Okay, talking about image at the national community, and but before we go on this break, let me get your view on what the aspirant, the candidate of the Labour Party, said when he left the PDP. He mentioned something. He said that when he was asked, he said he was not desperate to become the president of Nigeria, that he left because he feel that the Labour is in line with what he has in mind for Nigerians. And after the election, the primary election of the PDP, we've had series of cases of vote buying during the primaries and the rest of them. And looking forward at the APC convention, do you believe that Nigerian politics is monetized?
I'll have to be a bit careful here. I think one of the editions where I was in the studio live, I said I was part of the 2019 INEC ad hoc staff, and I saw firsthand what people have been saying in time past about monetization, and I called some days ago on my WhatsApp this industry, political industry, a very, very interesting industry, and I would say our politics is highly monetized, highly monetized. As a matter of fact, if you ask a regular Nigerian on the street, even a young person, about the politics of Nigeria, he or she will tell you, "Oh, I also want to get there. Why? What do you want to do when you get there? In order to take my own share of the national cake and leave." So if we have someone as young as 20 thinking like that, we already know that it is a very dangerous thing, because if that person is or are old on the national cake, he or she is going to not just dip the kitchen knife, it would axe the national cake, judging by what our generation is even into money right now. So our politics is highly monetized, really, really highly monetized. When you go to the polling center, you have people trying to lobby you to vote for them, inducing with some change. Some put 500 inside bread, and they share the bread. Some in some place. Honestly, it's not something that we see. Some places they give you 2,000 naira. Some places you get 5,000 naira. Depends on how enlightened the environment is. or how rich the area is. So because there are some areas when you give them 500 naira, they will look at you and say, why are you giving us 500 naira? We know what is happening in this environment. So you dare not even bring 500 naira. And I was in a state where, you already know, I won't mention the state now. I was in a state where the wealth of the nation is, by funds.
Okay, I just saw something before coming into the studio, preparing for the program. I saw in a Punch newspaper a delegate. In fact, it's not an established fact. A delegate who just returned home to Kanu, and there are words of cash he put on the table and some palliative that he's about to share to the king's men. And they are saying that he just returned from the PDP primaries. Looking at that, what do you think that the authorities will do? And that's why I asked you the question earlier, is if our politics is monetized. What do you think moving forward that the authorities should do if that is the truth of that just surfaced? What do we need to do to curb such in recent years?
Okay, this will not happen overnight. It will be like a 15-year plan, for the 20-year plan. First, we need to sanitize our public sector, because this thing has eaten deep down to the last arm of government, which is the local government. We need to sanitize it thoroughly, thorough sanitization, because when you go even into a department or an agency and you need to get some maybe document signed or something, you can be sure that if you are not going to, give a kickback or something, you are almost not getting that particular document signed. So it has to start from the top down to the bottom and back. It will be like a vice versa kind of sanitization. When you pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people and make them practical examples, not someone who is going to who is serving trial and is saying his lawyer is saying he's sick, is in the hospital. Regardless of how, there are some things you need to do. I would have to use this word. You need to do sometimes outside the law in order to sanitize an environment. Because when you say you want to wait for the law, it would take long enough time. So that means if you are going to do that, you would have to rearrange what is on ground statutory. So the moment you say that if you go outside the law, then you pick up that particular item and infuse it into the law. We all know how China developed today. If anybody is caught with a corrupt act, you are guilty until proven innocent. So that person would have to consistently prove with his lawyers that I am innocent. But we have the audit. It is the other way around here. It is innocent until proven guilty. So if you sanitize the public sector, of course, several other persons will fall in line.
Okay. We'll go on this short break. Please stay with us. When we come back, we concentrate more on the ruling party, their upcoming Congress and the presidential primaries, what the president has said. We'll go on this short break just for a little seconds. We'll be right back after this break.
Prevails our land where there's hope for us all. Our land where there's hope for us all. We'll defend our land. We believe in this nation, and hours to come.
This is Lagoon Radio.
Okay, you're still listening to State of the Nation, our political program on Lagoon Radio, your number one online gospel radio in Nigeria and the official radio of the Anglican Diocese of Lagos. We are transmitting live from the Archbishop's Palace right here in Marina, Lagos. Yes, and it's a beautiful Thursday morning, and we are looking at the outcome of party primaries. And also, we are looking ahead the APC primaries, which is coming up on the 6th of June, 2022. And our guest has been Olatunji Olafashake. Yes, he's been talking to us via WhatsApp. And yes, so much has been said about the PDP and the rest of them. Now, looking forward to the APC primaries. Before the president left for Spain, he had a meeting with the APC governors, and according to the governor of Nasarawa State, he said that the president told them to look inwards to that person that will carry the mantra of the APC, someone who can move forward Nigeria and who can consolidate on the efforts of the president, on the achievements of the president. Now, let me ask you first. When we talk about achievements of the president in the last 7 years, what exactly are we talking about in the last 7 years?
Yeah, putting me on the spot here. I would say, okay, honestly, the major thing I would say the president have achieved is in the area of road construction. I think he focused more on that construction, and most notably the second Niger bridge, which would be completed in a few months' time. Even when people said, "Oh, they are not doing anything in the second Niger bridge," I passed by that place during that period when people were complaining, and I saw that they were really doing things there. People were just saying because we did not like the president, in quotes now. But basically, I would say he has tried in terms of road construction. Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which has been on rehabilitation since forever, is having a better facelift. Yes, except for a few kilometers or meters, as the case may be, and some other places too. He has not done 100% in that part. Yes. In terms of electricity and power, well, on a scale of 0 to 10, based on what we've had before, I would say we'll give him 4. Really, because if a major city, like normally a major city should have constant power, I would say in my own environment and some other places I know, there have been constant power. And through the first term of the president, Mr. Fashola was able to start up a special arrangement for electricity consumers, where estates would have to pick up a particular bill, a particular amount to pay in exchange for value. So if you have been asked to pay as much as 60 naira per unit, just taking out that as an example, and you have like 22 hours of power supply, people will gladly pay. As a matter of fact, I even heard from one of the estate association chairman who said the amount he's been paying for electricity is lower than the amount he spends for his diesel generator each month. And now that his diesel generator is on break. So what it does is when there is no light, of course, they will even know that there won't be light at a particular time. He will switch to his inverter for that period. And before the inverter goes out, there's light again. So we have things, we have an improvement in that aspect for some people. Of course, if you can pay for it, you get it. And where else? I can't pinpoint any other place. I have to be honest. I can't pinpoint. In terms of health, it's been zero. Even the president himself is not treating himself in Nigeria.
Okay.
So, okay, you see, I'm even stuttering to even pinpoint some achievements.
Okay, now let's
But I
look.
wouldn't say
Okay, let's look at the primaries proper now. We have frontliners. We have the former governor of Lagos State, who is also the founding father of the APC, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. We have the vice president, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo. These are the major frontrunners from the southwest. We have Kayode Fayemi, the governor of Ekiti State, and also in the southeast, we have the ever loyal. I call him ever loyal because he has been in the opposition. The minister of mines, Ogbonnaya Onu, the former Imo State governor who was just released from the EFCC, Rochas Okorocha, and the governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, and also the sitting Senate president from the Northeast, who is also contesting for the position, Ahmed Lawan. Now, looking at all these men, do you think that there will be primaries? Because from what we are hearing, the president wants a consensus candidate. Do you think there will be primaries in the first place?
well, the president is the leader of the party at the moment, since he's the president. He wants a consensus candidate according to reports. However, he cannot say that should happen if he does not have the majority on his side. And if he says he wants a consensus candidate, we should by now have a feeler of whom the consensus candidate will be. We mentioned some names now. These names are not just small names. We can be 1, 2, 3, 4 people amongst these people who would not agree to consensus candidates based on our perception about them out from outside. We have Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is more like the most preferred candidate amongst every one of them, and who has the cult following from the southwest and even some parts of the north. I still saw an headline yesterday from some of the northern leaders who said they want someone like Tinubu to be the president. And on the other side too, we have Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, who is an intellect, a professor at that. Some persons will say, oh, he's been the vice president and he did not do anything. Let me quickly chip this in. In the constitution of Nigeria, the vice president is more like a spare tire. He does whatever he's asked to do. So he has only power when people say, oh, he's there, he's doing this, he can't do this, can't do that. His powers are limited. So that might be on the negative side for him, but of course, it's still a strong hold. And we also have Senator Ahmed Lawan. We have David Umahi. We have Kayode Fayemi too, who also has his own followers. So I wouldn't say that there will be a consensus candidate, except they are doing things we do not know at the moment. And of course, if there will be a consensus candidate, we can as well guess whom the person will be.
Okay, going by antecedents and doing our permutation, do you have a preferable candidate from the APC? Do you have someone who you think will be the one to win this?
If I'm being honest, which is quite dicey now, is between the vice president and Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So I can't actually say it's one out of those two.
Okay, but before now, there was a meeting by the southern governors, and they said that power should return to the south. PDP broke that, which raised eyebrows. Now, some section like the chief whip of the Senate, the Ninth Senate, former governor of Abia State, Ojo Zokalo, he is calling on the ruling party to go to Northeast. That if indeed that they want to win this election, that they should go to Northeast. And his preferred candidate is Ahmed Lawan. Now, looking at that, and sometime last year, the governor of Nasarawa State and also the governor of Kaduna State, I heard them spoke. They said there was an agreement in the APC, though not written, that power will return to the South. So, looking at it, yes, a lot of them have said that zoning is not in our constitution, but some are saying for the equity and justice that we should maintain the zoning formula. Are you a fan of zoning?
Growing up, I have okay. Let me start from here. Growing up, I did not grow up to know what is called zoning. As a matter of fact, in our day-to-day lives, everybody, we count ourselves as Nigerians. As long as you are capable, you can do this. We don't even care if you are from Maiduguri or if you are from Afar Ibom, Ikora Abasi, to be precise, because the last local government to the Atlantic Ocean. So if you, even if you are from Ikom, which is a border town to Cameroon, we don't want to know. As long as you are Nigerian and you are capable. But gradually we began to see that, this person is from this person is from that, this person, and it became a thing. So if you are not from this particular zone, you can't do this. If you are not from this particular zone, you can't do this. As long as there's catchment area in JAM, the zoning aspect to be there. I don't like it, but one of our big daddies will say, he said, "Is what it is and what should be." So this should be. We are Nigerians and we should not do that. But what is obtainable now? Zoning. So since there is the zoning and it is an unwritten rule, morals and values should put it forward that it is time for the South to take over again after 8 years of the North. And of course, the South, it is not composite to Southwest, it is not composite to Southeast, it is not composite to South-South, as long as it's coming from one of those three. And someone who is capable, not just because it should come from the South. Because if you ask me personally, if Ahmed Lawan is most capable, he should be the president. If Professor Yemi Osinbajo is most capable, he should be the president. As a matter of fact, by now, we should know what they want to do. Whether they are going to win the primaries or not. We shouldn't just hear that they picked 100 million form. We should know what they want to do. From there, we'll know this and this and this is capable. So in terms of zoning, there's nothing we can do about it, but it should come to the South. Since some of them already confirmed it, that there was an agreement. So maybe going forward, they should include it in their constitution, which I'm not sure that would happen.
Okay, like before Governor Wike, when he was contesting, he mentioned subsections of the constitution of the PDP. And looking at the way it was, for the first time, the chairman of the political party and the presidential aspirant, is almost coming from the same zone. And we talk about, some will say, like the term they have been using, political betrayal in the party. Now, looking at it, should the APC go north? Will it also sound the same as the PDP?
Should the APC go north? And if they go with Ahmed Lawan, I'm afraid they might not win the election. Because a lot of people from the South have been pushed to the heads, especially from the Southeast. They've been pushed to the heads. And at this point, going north, it will take a miracle for them to win again. Because really, we in the north right now, we don't have someone who has that weight. Many of them have defected. One of them is Governor Tamboa. If Governor Tamboa was still in the APC, I would say, he has that weight to pull the number of votes away from Abdulsalam Atiku. But now I would say they should not go north. They should not. They should go to the south and pick someone who is very, very strong, which we all know that we have people like that now.
Okay. Now you mentioned the southeast. Now can we fancy the chances of the Labour Party, Peter Obi? I was interacting with someone. He said that why he is advocating for Peter Obi to become the president is not just because he's from the southeast, but because it will put an end to political recycling that we've been doing since 1999. Looking at that statement, I reasoned that. Do you also go in line with that statement?
Yes. We've been recycling a lot. And I wish this recycling was evident in our waste disposal system. We wouldn't find Lagos as dirty as this. We need to break that cycle. And really, by the time we want to break that cycle, not just Peter Obi is in that territory of breaking the cycle. Even Professor Yemi Osinbajo is also in that territory. And bringing someone from the east and putting Peter Obi forward, what might reduce his chances could be the Labour Party. Oh, well, I also have people who want to vote for him. I myself, I could vote for him. It's just a probability. Because we want someone who has what it takes. We all knew what he did when he was the governor of the state of Anambra. And we know what he has been saying since then. I've listened to him 1,000,001 times. And we know this is a very, very brilliant man who does what he says, at least to an extent. But then his chances from the Labour Party is a bit slim. Well, he is of course going to gather the votes. But my major worry, I have to say, I'm sorry, but my major worry is from the southeast themselves. I keep telling my friends from the southeast that the Southeasterners need to come together. The same way they come together when it comes to business. They should take politics like business. Come together, form an alliance, and bring one candidate. I've been saying that thing for a long time now, even before the last election. Form an alliance, bring one major candidate, back that candidate up, and see if other people will not vote for that person. And of course, if you want to bring someone like that, the most preferred candidate is Peter Obi, because I would say he's the lone voice since the last elections. How many of the other candidates have we heard them? They've been governors and what? Even the APGA candidate now. I honestly do not even know much of. So if we have someone whom even the young people know, you can hardly ask any young person today that who is Peter Obi, and he will not tell you who Peter Obi is. So not that I'm campaigning for him, no, but bring someone from the southeast who is most capable and who has always been on the front line pages. There's no other person than Peter Obi. But then my fear is, will Kingsmen in the southeast vote for him? Because if your home is not even supporting you as in full capacity, what would happen from the away end?
Okay, we are gradually rounding up the show. Okay, let's talk a bit at the chances of the southeast. Some people have said that a southeasterner will never become the president of Nigeria, and the southeasterners also, they are crying of marginalization. And one thing you've raised, the major problem of the southeast is coming together to bring up a candidate. Now, looking at it now that it is this way, are there any chances of Peter Obi in case, we are just doing political calculations, political mathematics, because we cannot take it away from Nigerian politics. Is there any chance of him going forward to win that presidential election in 2023?
Except a miracle happens. The North is so closely knitted that it will take a very strong candidate from the east, not maybe southwest now, from the east. I don't know how much influence Peter Obi has in the north, like the way Bola Ahmed Tinubu has in the north. And of course, you also know that he's from the Labour Party, not from one of the two major political parties. And from my previous experiences, we have old people, who would come to the polling unit to vote for party, not for candidates. They will tell you point blank that they are coming to vote for the umbrella or for the broom. So that has even reduced his chances. So except a miracle happens, that is when he is going to win. And if, like I said the other time, the Easterners backing up fully, not minding political affiliations or not.
Okay. Now, before we go, what are your expectations come this APC presidential primaries? Don't forget, they are the ruling party, and all eyes are on them. What are your expectations?
Well, my expectations is simple. Let it be a free and fair election. I wouldn't subscribe to consensus candidates, because the moment you subscribe to consensus candidates, as an outsider who wants to see everything work smoothly, APC might shoot themselves in the leg if they pick a consensus candidate, because there are some people who just defect, and of course, defecting begins to break the party. But what I think from the previous experience is APC has always found a way to come together, even when it's as if the party is about to break. So what I want to see really this weekend is, let everybody come forward. If you are going to sit down for a particular candidate, don't wait to the tail end. Come forward while you are giving your speech, or even before you give your speech. Tell us, I am conceding to this person.
Okay.
Come forward and tell us, conceding to this person. That's all.
Okay, like Aminu Tambuwa did. Do you subscribe to the Aminu Tambuwa kind of coming up?
Well, I guess we are going to see that again. I don't subscribe to it, but we might see that again, because we know Nigeria is more of a copy. Kind of.
Okay, Olatunji, we must sincerely thank you for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Okay. Yes. That was Olatunji Olafashake, our guest. One of the sincere Nigerians who wants to see Nigeria work, and that's the size of the package this morning on the program State of the Nation. It comes your way again on Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And by next week, we will be looking at the outcome of that presidential primaries of the APC, and we'll fancy the chances of the candidates in the election. Remember, by next week, it should have been over by political parties. The congresses must have been over, and we know the candidates in the 18 political parties. And thank you for listening to us this morning, and also thanks to our producer, Olumakaiye Jedi, for pressing the right buttons. See you again on Thursday, and do enjoy our lovely programs. Goodbye.
This is Lagoon Radio.